You have to be aware of these 4 key pillars if you're winning in business. If not, it'll be head, heart, or fart. Driven Mofos, welcome back to another episode of The Underestimated Entrepreneur. Well, thank you so much for all the messages. My Instagram got swamped last week or the last week or so since returning back onto the podcast after a bit of a break. Awesome. Thank you so much for those of you who keep sharing the podcast, who have been taking screenshots and tagging me in it and sharing it on Instagram or on your Facebook. You know, it's so awesome to have so many new people coming into this podcast and listening. So if you're new, welcome. If you've been in the community for a long time, thank you so much for being part of this epic community. And by the way, we just crossed, I think, about 120,000 downloads. So we're on the way up. So let's just keep pushing and get this out to more and more people. Anyway, let's get into it. We're talking today about 4 key pillars of business that most people don't think about. Now, when I'm talking about key pillars in business, I'm not talking about sales. I'm not talking about marketing. I'm talking about how you operate as a leader in the business. As we know, all leadership is self-leadership. And if we're stressed out, then the business is probably going to be stressful. If we're frustrated, people in the business will feel that stress. So they're either going to walk on eggshells, they're going to be afraid of you, they're not going to want to tell you when things go wrong, they're going to question everything, they're going to be afraid to execute on things, so you'll find that they're just not doing anything. And this is super frustrating, right? I've been there, team. What I want to talk about today is there's something that I spoke about with my team only a couple of weeks ago, and in the upcoming Business Odyssey, I'm spending 2 days talking about leadership and leadership frameworks. How do you lead people better? How do the lines of communication work so that when you say that I need something done, that it gets executed to the level that you expect? Now, this came up because so many business owners that I'm talking to at the moment are frustrated that they've got these lines of communication with their team and things are getting missed. They're asking for things to be done. Those things aren't getting done. That means then they get pissed off with staff, but when they're pissed off with staff start walking on eggshells or they get frustrated or angry, and it normally reduces productivity. And it opens up more ways of making mistakes as well. Like when people feel nervous or anxious, they'll make more mistakes. So I went through this with my team and I thought, you know what, I want to educate my team on this as well, not just for me being a leader, but to help them to become a better leader. And we spoke about head, heart, or fart. And what do I mean by that? Well, the 4 key pillars are this. If you imagine the human body, you have the head, you have the heart, you have the hands, which are action, and you have the feet for progression. Now, when we look at that, we've got the head. So the head is us thinking through things effectively. This is strategizing, this is planning, this is systems, this is process. That's all in the head. Now, some of you out there who are listening to this are fantastic at strategy, at logic, at thinking through things. That can be a massive problem in your business though. So it's a huge strength, but it can also be a massive weakness. Some people, they have no heart in their business. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, they've taken the human element out of it. Many years ago, I worked with a business coach who was helping me out. Now, he was a super strategic guy. So his whole day was highly structured. He had systems, processes, and structures for everything. Now, the cool thing was that he was able to hire a full offshore team. So he hired a whole bunch of people in offshore countries who worked for 1/10 of the price of an Australian worker or a US worker. Now, it was great because he had cheap labor. He could just get stuff done. He had a bigger team. The problem was that anytime anything went outside of the system, it was almost like talking to morons. So I had multiple problems that came up just in working with them, right? Because every business that you deal with is always going to have problems. Our company has problems, your company has problems. Because what business growth is that we solve one problem and we create another problem. So when I'm on the phone talking to a business owner and they're like, you know, I want the business to run smoothly. Businesses never run smoothly. They never run smoothly. Because here's the thing. If you're running Qantas and you're Alan Joyce, he was in the media because there was a whole bunch of stuff happening in the company, a whole bunch of decisions that got made, and he's getting attacked in the media, people criticizing him. There's stuff going on with baggage handlers, there's strikes. Now he's dealing with a massively high level, multi-billion-dollar company. Well, probably, I don't even know what it's worth, probably tens of billions, right, with a B. So the problem that he has at that level is that a lot of the time he won't get information about the company. So if there's problems with the baggage handlers, that has to go through 10 different levels of management in order to get to him. And so by the time he finds out, the shit has really hit the fan. That can be a massive problem. Also, you've got company politics. So you have a bunch of people around you who are all trying to work their way up, who tell you what you want to hear because that's how they operate. That's how large organizations work. That's a problem. He has to deal with exchange rates. So if you fly an airplane from Australia and you've got to put fuel in it, by the time it reaches America, you now have to put fuel in it at US dollars. And you have staff who are US based. Then you fly to Europe, you might have European based staff who have different wages, different entitlements, everything like that. So he has to think about all of these things at a very high level. Then he has a bunch of management that go and execute it. There's also things like unions that start getting involved in larger businesses. So he has to deal with all of these problems, cash flow. And when we say cash flow, like we're talking billions of dollars to run that company. So he has to make sure that they have, a lot of money coming in consistently, because even a 5 or 10% change in anything can topple the whole company. Now, if you're running a scaling business and you're bringing on more staff, one of the most common problems that you're going to have is you're going to have problems with staff. You're going to have problems with leadership. You're probably not going to have enough systems. You're not going to have enough processes. As you grow your team, then you're going to start to struggle with cash flow, because as you onboard more people, they're not going to be as effective as what you want and as efficient as what you want. So they're going to be burning through cash a little bit until they get up to a level where they can work by themselves. So scaling businesses have common problems. Startup businesses, at the start, you're just trying to get sales, you're trying to get money in the door, you're doing everything yourself, you're operating the machinery, or, you're pretty much doing everything. You're the marketing, you're the sales, you're the account manager, you're sending invoices, you're chasing up late payments, you've got to deal with banks, then you've got to deal with accountants, then you might have legal issues, or you've got to get contracts done. Like, it's just, at that level, it's crazy as well. So at every level, you have to deal with problems in the business. When you're all head and no heart, you'll think through things very logically, right? System, structure, process, whatever. But as you drop down into the heart, some people, like when you're dealing with people, you've got to deal with more heart. So a staff member comes in, I've got some relationship issues and things are going on at home. You have to have some heart. Because if you're just all head and all logic, you're like, well, just fix it, right? You're an employee. You come to work, I pay you, you get your job done. Now fuck off after that. That's how some business owners think. When you're like that, you lack the heart. That heart, that lack of heart in the organization is going to cause a company to stall. You're going to have higher churn rate in staff members. You might have more intense conversations with customers as well, because the contract's the contract. I don't care whether your company's struggling a little bit, just give me my money. So they're the types of conversations that becomes really, really stressful. Also, it's hard to market. So there are a lot of people out there who market everything logically. They talk about all the features of their products. And you see this all the time in marketing, and it's really bad. It's really bad, and it costs businesses millions, sometimes even billions. So when you talk about the features of your product, like if I go to buy a TV, a feature might be that it uses 47 billion LED diodes or light emitting diodes on the screen. It might have brightness and dimming capabilities or whatever for nighttime and daytime. When I buy a TV, I just want to watch the TV. And I want to sit there and I want to enjoy it with people that I care about, because I'm going to sit there and chill with Jess after hours and I'm just going to watch the TV. Therefore, selling features to most people is not a good marketing strategy. Selling the enjoyment of sitting on the couch with your wife, watching television while you're eating a pizza on a Saturday night, enjoying some chocolate, or having a glass of wine with your friends and family while you're watching something on the television, or enjoying it with your kids while you watch the latest Disney movies or whatever. People buy the benefits, they don't buy the features. So when you're so logical, you'll get caught in your head and you'll get stuck on features. We do X, Y, Z, and it's very, very logical. Great marketers are emotional. They drive emotion. Steve Jobs was fantastic at it. Have a look at Nike. They demonstrate consistently over and over and over again how the product makes someone feel. Like when you wear a pair of Nikes, the best athletes in the world wear Nike. And the best athletes in the world who train hard and push and want to win and want to do the best, they wear Nike. And so when you put on Nike, you go, oh, I feel like I'm up there with the best people in the world. You get that feeling of like, I bought high quality running gear or whatever it is for you. So they sell the heart. So heart is important. Then you have the hands. The hands are for action. Now, some of you have a lot of thinking. You spend a lot of time thinking and procrastinating, and you don't spend a lot of time taking action and using your hands to move shit forward. So you can have a lot of head and a lot of heart. So you might love your product, love your service. You know how to market the benefits of the product. And you might have a great mind where you can think through things and you're highly strategic. But if you're not taking action, you're not moving shit forward every day, then eventually the business is going to get stuck. And that's because you've got head, heart, and no hands. So you need to have the hands in order to action and move things forward. That's going to be super important for you. So procrastination doesn't necessarily help you to get things done more effectively. Perfectionism is part of procrastination as well. You want to get things right because you're trying to avoid judgment, you're trying to avoid criticism, or you might just want to avoid having to do something a second or a third time. But consistent improvement and consistent innovation in a business is more important. So I tell my team, just get it started. One of the common sayings that I have in my team is just kick the ball forward. If you know the game of soccer, I mean, most of the world do, or it might be called football. If you're down in the back lines and you want to kick it towards the goal, you can stand there and try and have the perfect kick and the perfect shot to try to get it the whole way down there. Or if you just kick the ball forward and then someone else kicks the ball forward and then they kick the ball forward, eventually you're going to get closer to the goal. So what I tell my team is every day, just kick the ball forward. I don't give a shit whether it's perfect. I don't care. Just kick the ball forward. I want to know what you've completed by the end of the day, and let's keep kicking that forward. If we keep doing that, we know that we're going to kick a lot of goals. If we're always waiting in order to have the perfect kick to get it into the net from right the other end of the pitch, it's going to take forever to get down there. And then by the time you kick it, you're probably going to miss anyway. So let's just keep kicking it forward. And even if we have a roadblock or something like that, then just kick it a little bit in a different direction until we hit the goal. So I talk consistently to my team about action, taking action. So now we've spoken about head, logic, think through things effectively. Heart brings the emotion into things. It'll help you with sales. It'll help you with staff. It'll help you with connecting with people, right? Your community or your customers. Then you have action. Consistently take action and use your hands. Move shit forward. Keep kicking that ball forward towards the goal. And then finally, Tai Lopez spoke about this and he said, one of the things that a lot of people suffer with or struggle with in business is that they just don't have the right connections. And so the feet are normally walking forward to create groups of people that are around you. So keep walking around, finding people that are like you, that are like-minded, that you can connect with. Because the more you connect with people, the more likely you are to succeed in business. I say this all the time. Like I get asked this question probably every week. Like, how do you meet the people that you meet? If you've been on this podcast for a long, long time, you know the types of people that I know. Even when I was in US, one of my clients owns the Hollywood sign in LA. So he owns the global rights to the Hollywood sign. And people are like, how the fuck do you meet him? Well, to be honest, I actually sent him a Facebook message. He lives not far from me. I heard about him. I just reached out to him on Facebook and I said, hey, you live not far from me. I know the hotel that you consistently go and have dinner at and things like that. Can I shout you dinner and I'll buy your favorite bottle of wine? And I would love to sit down and have a glass of wine with you and let's shoot the shit and see what happens. And because he didn't have to have a commitment, he knows he's going to eat dinner every night anyway, and he loves a glass of wine, he had no risk. So it actually helped him to get what he wanted anyway. I wasn't asking for advice. I didn't say, can I pick your brain? I didn't say, hey, do you want to go and meet over the other side of town so that then he has to drive somewhere? I made it as easy for him to say yes as possible. And because of that, we caught up. And then from there, we've been friends ever since. And I worked with him for a little bit, just to help him out through different stages of his life and his career. So again, this is contacts. I have billions of dollars worth of contacts in my phone, billions. That's how I catch up with some of the top people in the world. Even in the US trip, I have some of the top people, the top speakers, and everyone like that in my phone now. I get their personal number and then I can call them at any time. And I've been sending them messages. So I saw Adam Sosnick. Some of you might know he's Patrick Bet-David's right-hand man. He did a podcast interview for me. So when I launched season 3, first week of December, he'll be in that first group of people that I've interviewed. But anyway, people like that I just bump into, I talk to, I add value to them. And then if everything goes well, I just ask for their number and we keep in touch. And so because of that, I've been able to have billions of dollars worth of contacts now that I can reach out to. The best marketers, the best salespeople, the best thought leaders, people who work in different fields like neuroscience and psychology and physics, people that have built $100+ million companies, even $1 billion companies. These are people that I've just bumped into just by using my feet and make sure I put myself in the right place. Sometimes you got to pay. Sometimes I paid a lot of money to be in the right circles of people. But when you're there, you get to meet them. If you do a good job, they want to hang out. And then when they hang out, now you become friends. So head, heart, hands, feet. Tai Lopez spoke about this, and I just think it's such a great way of thinking, and I've implemented it with my team, and I think it's fantastic. Like, it's just a great way of thinking through things, because some of you are all head, no heart. Some of you are all heart, and you don't think through things effectively. You let your emotions drive your behavior, and you get caught up in your emotions. So, you say, oh, I'm so frustrated. I'm so angry all the time. I'm so stressed. I don't know what to do. I'm so anxious. I'm overwhelmed. Well, you're all heart, right? Get in your head a little bit more. Think through things more effectively. Ask the right questions. maybe part of the reason why you're anxious, stressed out, and frustrated is you keep putting off the work that you need to do. So you need to use your hands a little bit more. Get dirty with your hands. Get into it. Get shit done. Just get it out there. Kick the ball forward. And then some of you are great at thinking through things. You've got the right emotions there, but maybe you're not making enough money because you don't have the right connections. And so then that's an area you need to work on. So if you think about those 4 key pillars, that'll help you grow heaps. And this isn't just in business, this is in life as well. It's really important to think through those things. I know Jess and I spoke about this because for her personally, she's very much caught in her head a lot. She thinks through things effectively. She's super intelligent. She can get in her heart a little bit, but not as much as what probably she needs to. She's definitely an action-orientated person and absolutely whoops ass getting shit done, but doesn't spend a lot of time socializing, connecting with people and having those contacts. And so, that's become a hindrance in her goals. And now she's been working with me a little bit and we talk about these things. And so now she's getting out there more and socializing more and meeting new people. And because of that, now she's starting to get the right contacts that are helping with some of her goals and some of her dreams. So anyway, Driven Mofos, this is something to think about. I hope this helps. Please remember, if you're enjoying this podcast and you're getting value from it, please just screenshot it, chuck it up on your social media, let people know that it's out there. Tag me in it as well, because then that way I can say thank you as well. So you can tag me at MichaelMojo_success on Instagram, also on TikTok as well if you share on there, or any of the other social media platforms as well, Facebook, whatever. I see a lot of people share it in their stories. So anyway, let's keep pushing this podcast. Let's see if we can get it to 500,000 now. That's the 500,000 downloads is the next goal. So hopefully we can do that by mid-year next year. We just got to keep pushing and get this out to more people. But if you're finding this valuable, please remember to share it. It means a lot to me. Part of the reason why I do this is because I just want to help people. I want to get this information out there for free, give you something to think about every day, maybe even just a little bit of something to work on every day. It doesn't have to be big changes. You probably heard me on other podcast episodes where I say things like, it's the small, seemingly insignificant things that are done on a regular basis that achieve the greatest results. So by doing small things each day and listening to this podcast and just implementing one small thing each day, I guarantee 365 days later, a year later, you'll be a completely different person, completely different habits, more effective, more efficient, kicking ass, getting better results. That's why I do this as well. So, it means a lot to me if you share this with everybody. But anyway, thank you. Keep kicking ass and I'll see you on the next episode. Most people waste their life and I just don't want you to be one of them.